Hi, I'm Maria Davidson.
And I'm Rich Davidson.
You're... I sound like a drunken Homer Simpson?
Well, yes.
Check the dang camera. Can't work like this. I'm leaving. Hi guys, thanks for joining us today. And today's topic, we're going to be talking about change. I know change is something that everybody has to deal with, and we deal with it in sometimes tiny increments and sometimes rather large increments. Sometimes it's things in life that are a little more than an inconvenience, and other times it's serious issues such as health issues or job issues. And I think if anybody who's watching this is over 40, or really anybody for that matter at any age, we've all experienced times where change has happened to us. It's somewhat inevitable, and I think today we want to talk a little bit about how that change affects us, and one of the good ways that we can use methods of coping with that change so we can navigate through those things in our lives. Anything to add?
No.
Wow.
That's a change.
So first, so I break down change into two categories. The first category is the type of change that you initiate. Like maybe you need another job or you want to move out of a particular city. That is change that we as individuals initiate. The other category is the change that happens to you whether you like it or not.
The more common category.
Well, to a certain extent, yes.
Think.
Okay, all right. Well, those are the sorts of changes that might include getting fired or getting laid off, or maybe getting a bad health diagnosis from your doctor, or whatever the case may be. We've all experienced the changes that happen by our own making, and the changes that were kind of along for the ride.
A good example is Rich's work at the piano bar. This is a job that he loves. He started last year, and it's the first job in his entire working life that he's loved. He's had jobs that he's hated. Yes?
I think I have one right now, actually. Well,
you're more benign on bus driving, I think.
Ambivalent.
Ambivalent. He doesn't love kids, and that makes bus driving a little bit harder, but you don't hate kids either, so you're not like that crotchety old guy, get on my lawn!
But I will be.
Well, you will be one day.
I will be. So we're going to live in a condominium.
Anyway, so this particular job, he hasn't had a chance to work at. It's a club, so it's closed. Thank you, COVID-19. And Governor Cooper.
Can I do the middle finger now?
No middle fingers. We're not that type of channel.
Getting there.
Yet. Anyway.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, were you finished?
Yes,
okay.
I wanted you to talk about your feelings on that.
Yeah, and I think for me, this video is almost kind of therapeutic in a sense, because I'm really struggling with being out of work there. I don't really have a whole lot to do. Technically yesterday, which would be for most people Friday, this past Friday. It was my last day of working as a school bus driver, but I actually haven't been driving a bus for about 3 months. I've been doing some work from home, but that's only a couple hours a day. So, I've kind of been puttering around trying to fill the time, and it gives me more time to think about not working at a job that I really want to work at, and it's been a struggle. Look, we have an older child that has clinical depression, so I know what that is, and I'm not saying that I have clinical depression, but I have been struggling with a bit of anger and frustration and depression over not being able to go do this. So I would say that right now I'm probably not handling that change very well.
I'd say that's true.
I'm not like breaking things and becoming abusive, but it's for me, it's probably more normal for me to feel negatively right now than positively, and I struggle with that. I recognize that, and so that's like I said, this is kind of cathartic in a sense.
And as a family, we've all struggled with his lack of employment right now. It's weird that we're the ones saying we're struggling with it. My life in terms of work hasn't changed. So I get up every morning, I do my job, and I'm fortunate because I like my job. I've liked every job I've ever had, so I've never had to struggle with this particular part. And I know we're a little off topic, but since that's really what this is all about, we're gonna go with it. I've never struggled with this the way that Rich has, but we've been together since I was 17, and I'm 48, to give you an idea of how long we've been together. And I know how he feels about his prior jobs, and I was so excited for him to be happy in a work situation. His home life, he's not an unhappy person.
No.
We are seriously happily married, but not liking your job impacts how you feel at home, at least when you're first coming home and you're unloading from your day and you're trying to transition into interacting with family and being where you want to be, but still having to deal with all the impact of having been where you don't want to be all day. And the difference in how Rich has been since he started working at the piano bar, it's amazing to me, because even though he still has this other job is really what helps pay the bills and provides his insurance and that kind of stuff. He's not been unhappy. Like every day from Sunday through Thursday, he's like, I get to go to the piano bar on Friday. Like, it is sustaining. And so it has been difficult. We've noticed a much grumpier version of Rich. And as he said, it's not like he's become abusive. And I know that there are families out there that are dealing with that. So I don't want to make light of that.
Yeah, and I want to interject here and say that I'm trying to be sensitive about where people are, and I know some people have lost their jobs temporarily. Some people have lost their jobs permanently.
All of the rest of our family are out of work.
Yeah, and like my job as a bus driver, it's not my favorite job. But I do want to say that I feel fortunate to have it, and it's one of the reasons why I don't just throw my hands up some days and leave the job, because I understand it pays me well. Through this time of COVID, as the schools have been closed, I've still been getting
paid
paycheck.
leave.
There's a lot of things to be thankful about in that, and I don't want to come off sounding as if I'm, first world problems, complaining about, I have a job that pays the bills. I don't want to sound like that at all. But to kind of pivot it back to what we were talking about before, these are the types of changes in our lives that we have to deal with sometimes.
Yeah.
Now we have, and I'm sure everybody has stories, but we could sit here and talk for hours about serious changes in our lives that blindsided us. Our youngest son's cancer. You're losing your job. She
This was a while ago. I have a job now.
But she was
I was out of work.
unexpectedly laid off, and she was out of work for 3 years.
3 years. It was during not the depression, but the recession. And prior to that, I had never applied for a job that I wasn't offered ever in my entire life. And I applied for maybe 700 jobs in that time, in the state, out of the state, everywhere, and got one call back in that whole entire time. That was tough.
Yeah, and I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say we have a child who tried to commit suicide 5 times, 6 times, several times. Though,
Keep count.
well, it's very impactful. Everything, and for example, in Daisy's situation, because she suffers from clinical depression, and we knew early on, obviously, she was struggling with that. And that will be another video that we'll talk more in depth about the good, the bad, the ugly, what we did right, what we did wrong, but that's another video. In that case, every time she attempted suicide, we had to make massive changes at home in an attempt to help her. Like, we changed how we did things. Things got locked up that didn't get locked up before, and new types of therapies and traveling hours to get from point A to point B to make sure she was seeing the right people. And those are all examples of, we didn't ask for that.
No.
Those things happened to us. Some of the things we chose was moving to North Carolina.
Exactly. We left our life in Florida, as such as it was. We left that, and we came here. We didn't have jobs. We did have a place to live, and that's another long story. But it was pretty cool how it worked out. And we had a little bit of money to kind of sustain us for about a month, I think, and then we needed to be to work, and those were the changes that we made, that we what's the word I'm looking for? We precipitated.
We chose.
We chose to do that, but I think in all of them, I think the thing to remember is that there are good sides to it. We spent a lot of time talking about me not working at the piano bar. And as I said, that is a challenge for me that I'm currently working through. But I can look at some positives. The positives are, number one, I was working that job not necessarily needing the money, so it hasn't really impacted our finances. Number two, I've been able to invest more time into other things, such as this YouTube channel. It's something we have been talking about for a while.
Over a year.
At least, and some, and maybe even longer in some other things.
Truly, we didn't have the time up until more recently, and once we get things more compacted, even when we're both back to work, we'll have an idea of how to get this done in a more timely manner instead of it taking us a week long to do.
But another thing is that, and we can talk about that in more detail in other videos, but some of the changes that we had experienced that kind of blindsided us, we found some silver linings in them. So, I mean, even as serious as childhood cancer, there was if you can believe it or not, there were some silver linings in all of it. Not a lot, but enough to sustain you, to help you navigate through that. And I think the thing is that a lot of times people, especially people who are really comfortable where they're at, like I was at the early part of the year, was very comfortable with where I was at. I was busy a lot. I worked all day driving the bus. I had to get up early, so I went to bed early. Fridays were an extremely busy day for me. I'd work all day at the bus. I'd come home, I'd shower, get something to eat, and I'd go to the piano bar, and I'd be there until I got home at 3:30 in the morning. But I was comfortable with that.
I loved it, actually. Yeah.
I was staying busy. I was
We have learned that we're not built for retirement.
No, it's retirement. It'll suck if I.
Unless we're incredibly wealthy and we can travel all the time.
Something like that.
I don't see that happening.
Well, unless more people start subscribing.
Come on.
And they get that big money.
You gotta fund our
Yeah.
worldwide travel
You
aspirations.
Fund our inability to save for retirement. That's really what this channel should be called. But the reality is that I was comfortable, and change happened, and now I'm uncomfortable, and I have to deal with that. And regardless of whether it's something permanent or something temporary like this is, the thing I think one of the most important things is, regardless of how comfortable you are or how much you try to protect the situation you're in, change is going to happen. It's going to happen. Sometimes you make the change because you have to.
Yes.
Sometimes the world makes the change because, well, that's just how it is. And understanding that you can't stop it, I think, is one very important lesson.
Yeah, accepting that the change is there and saying, okay, what can I do in this change that will make me feel better? Because it is easy, and this is something that Rich struggles with, and he comes by it naturally. He tends to dwell in the negative. And I'm not an optimist, it's not the same thing. I just tend to look for solutions. I am what you would find, I'm a fixer. There's a problem, how do we fix that problem? And I have learned, especially through Daisy and Reese, who that's our youngest with cancer, that I obviously cannot control or fix clinical depression. I cannot control or fix cancer. So what within those things do I have control over? And sometimes it's minimal. With Daisy, I had to work on my responses, my frustration. And again, this is another video because I really think that parents who have children, whether they're young or adult children who struggle with depression, and the parent doesn't, because I've never dealt with it, so I had a much harder time understanding where she was coming from or the impetus behind her actions. And so I did not handle a lot of stuff well, and it took me a while to adjust myself. So that was what I had to do in her situation. And Reese's, I had to stop myself from being the fixer, because it does me no good to go up and look at all the different types of cancer, or in his case, the type of cancer he had. I did it after we were like in a safe place where he had his surgery, the chemo was over, and the doctor felt confident that he was he's stable. He still has cancer, but he's stable, and the doctor felt confident in his stability. I started looking up statistics. And I'm glad I did not do that before. But that would have been my normal response. Let's look up our statistics and make ourselves positive. But they actually don't recommend that. They're like, don't go online and start looking at this information, because you will start feeling bad. So in the terms of silver linings, with Reese in particular, we found where our community was. Our church was very supportive through that time, brought us food, wanted to help. My mom came and she stayed with us for as long as we needed. Our house was cleaner than it ever was before. She's also a fixer. For her, she couldn't fix, so she cleaned. Much to the older kids' chagrin, because they were cleaning baseboards.
Call her and tell her I have cancer because this house is a mess. Worth a shot. I mean, I'm almost 50.
She's going to say deal with it.
Yeah.
But we learned how to lean on other people, something we never really did before. We were always self-sufficient and isolated. Would you say that's a good?
Yeah.
Like, we didn't reach out to people. We did not try to cultivate relationships with other people, because in serious, we are enough together. I really this is my very best friend. But during that time, I realized we actually do need more, maybe not in terms of the direct relationship, but we can't do everything always. And when Reese was going through his surgeries, I lived at the hospital.
Yeah.
He had 2 brain surgeries, a lumbar puncture, port implant.
That was it. That was it.
That was it. I could tell you we were at the hospital when he was going through chemo 5 days a week.
4 to 5 days a week.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was, we needed other people. Suddenly we realized we're not, even though in this, we're great. We don't hold anger, we're not a couple that a week from now, if we get in a fight today, that will bring up the fight from a week ago and leave it unresolved for a week. We discuss, I know, just a month.
Oh, yeah, okay. Because you said that really mean thing about me yesterday.
Which thing? I don't remember.
I can't say it here with
that
family audience.
No.
Anyway.
No, but in truth, it's rare for us to go to bed without resolving whatever, if we had an argument or a disagreement about
Unless,
something.
of course, we're really tired.
But he is narcoleptic, and that's not really
Not
true.
narcoleptic.
I just... Hey, we're still recording.
Oh. Okay.
But if we go upstairs to bed and we're still in a fight, if he lays down, that's it. Within a minute, he
Not
is.
trying to shut her out. I'm
No,
just really
he just
tired.
falls. So if I want to resolve that, then we cannot go upstairs. We cannot go to bed. We have to talk it
I
out.
really didn't go to bed angry. I
No.
went to bed tired.
Yeah, it's more. It's just more tired. But that's actually.
Everybody.
That's rare. I mean, literally, I can count on one hand how many times that's happened in the duration of our 27 years of marriage. So my point is that we learned that we actually do need other people. And we're learning how to cultivate friendships and relationships with outside of our little bubble. We do try to go for community relationship. That sounds bad. We do try to go for friendships that we both
Not
like.
that.
No.
Not yet.
No. Wait.
Oh,
what?
wait, no. No, never.
We're trying to work towards something. Wait a minute.
Never.
We're not that type of channel.
Okay, fine. Just off topic.
We do try to cultivate friendships with people we both like so that we can all do stuff together. But I have a friend who, right now she's in South Carolina, that we're already planning stuff with the 2 of us when things go back to normal.
And I think what this does, this is just an example of what you can look for in the changes. Now your self-examination
May be
very different. You actually may be somebody who goes out and has a lot of friends and is less. We're kind of more introverts, and so you may not be like that at all. But I think the point is that there are positives to find in change, even outside of the actual change, because the truth of the matter is that sometimes, whether it's change that we initiate or change that happens to us, well, I can say that for the most part, for instance, job-wise, it's always been better. Maria has lost a job, and she's always gone to something that has been better, whether it's financially better, or whether it's a better work environment, or it's a new challenge, or something she hasn't done.
I love jobs I've never done before.
Yeah. So, and I think the point is that there are things, not just those things directly related to the change, but those things beyond that are affected by the change that can actually be a catalyst for self-improvement, can be a catalyst for giving you a better quality of life, giving you a different perspective. And I think that's what's important to look at, because people can say that, well, this time during the COVID outbreak and all the nonsense that's been going on with that, A lot of people are experiencing changes in their life, and they are. But if it wasn't COVID, it would be something else. There's always going to be a catalyst for change in our life, whether it's on a global scale like this one is, or it's just a simple fact that the business that you work for is hitting rough times and they got to lay people off. There's good things that can happen and all of that.
And I do want to add that change is inevitable whether we want it or not just in these dramatic, drastic things that we're talking about. A choice to move across the country or to leave a job because you hate it even though you don't have a new job to go to. And change is part of your self-development. When I was 17, 16 years old, I was volatile. I don't think they could hear that.
I'll show you the pictures later.
Insert picture here.
Ding!
Anyway, I was volatile. I was angry all the time and I didn't know how to manage that anger. And my parents are good people, so this is not a knock against them. But because my mom's childhood was such that she was not allowed to express herself outside of the acceptable norms, I got a lot more leeway than I should have, and I did not learn how to control that anger. And over the years, and my kids will even tell you, my son and I, he's 15, he said, even from when I was 10, I can tell the difference between you then and now. It is still a process. I still actually get angry easy, but I control it better. And my anger manifested itself in yelling. There was never like violence, but, or even verbal abuse or anything, but just like, shut up everybody, just a random tantrums, I guess, would be.
Kind of verbal abuse.
Well, to tell people to shut up is not verbal abuse. I was not a name caller or that kind of stuff.
Differ.
Shut up.
So
anyway, my point is that you are changing every single day. You are influenced by your experiences, and the negative and positive things that happen to you impact how you behave. They inform your choices, and as time progresses, you become a different person. I do think at our base we are who we are, but you control certain aspects better. The things that you don't like about yourself, like I don't like that I get angry easily. So that is something I focus on. Why is that? And it just may be, I don't know, an imbalance. Who knows? But the point is that I have control over what I do with that. And I used to not exercise that control, and now I do. That is a change. That is a change that's happened over time. It didn't happen overnight. It was a choice of mine to say I want to make this change, but an acceptance that it might take a long time for me to go from the girl who yells at you the second she's mad at you to the woman who may not even express it in any way, shape, or form. Like, I can say, am I reasonably angry? Is this a reasonable thing to be angry at? And if I realize that it's not, I can usually temper that.
Yeah. And so I think just to kind of close everything out, change is challenging. Mm-hmm. It's difficult, yeah.
Even if you choose it.
Yeah, even if you choose it, yeah. And we could, I have actually personal stories, not just from me, but from people that I know that would attest to that. Mm-hmm. But the point is that even though it's challenging, and even though there are difficulties, either initially or possibly long-term difficulties with the change that happens, there also are good things. And and I think that maybe change doesn't necessarily, it's because it always continues. You're always gonna be faced with changes. Maybe you won't always be able to handle it like, I've dealt with that change before. But there are parts of your past experience when it comes to change that can help you deal with something that maybe you've never had to deal with before, because it's coming for everybody in some respects. So I think that's it.
Yeah.
If you like what you hear, and even if you don't,
Subscribe anyway.
like down at the bottom there, wherever that is, and like that and subscribe. And if you want, leave a comment. If you like us, great. If you don't like us, even better. Just leave a comment. If you have an idea for a future show, let us know.
Yeah, we have topics.
Yeah,
but we're
topics.
more than welcome to discuss
Yeah.
things that other people have in mind.
Yeah, we'll
Yes.
And we'll link down at the bottom for we have Facebook page,
Twitter,
Instagram. Those are updated all the time. So like us on there, follow us, all that good stuff. And I think
Love us, please. Love
yes, we need your validation.
Yes.
Also, if we get enough subscribers, we can get sponsors.
I think you mean monetized. I'm not sure
Whatever.
sponsorships in our future.
Oh, you never know.
You never know.
All right. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Peace.
Did you just throw the peace sign? Huh.
I did. Later.
Bye. Hello.
Hello.
Test, test, test.
I won't use the middle finger this time.
There's a nice change. So should I?
I've been figuratively doing it all my life. Well,
I haven't known you all your life.
that's true. But it feels like.
Hi, I'm Maria Davidson.
And I'm Rich Davidson, and you're watching Off Topic.
Life After 40. Your thumbs up thing is so cheesy.
All right, let's do it again. I won't do the thumbs up.
I don't care if you
All
do
right,
it.
well,
I
let's
just
do it
thought
again.
it was funny.
Let's do it again.
Hi, I'm Maria Davidson.
And I'm Rich Davidson, and you're watching. Cut. Oh, I have an itch right here.
Good, I have
Lower,
an itch
little
too.
lower. Oh yeah. Okay, great. He's picking the bugs out of my hair.
I'm grooming you.
Yeah. Alright.
Hi, I'm Maria Davidson.
And I'm Rich Davidson, and you're watching Off Topic.
Life After 40.
I gotta do it again because I started saying life after 40. Alright, there we go.
Wait, not ready.
Clapperboard. Not right.
Okay, go.
Dug it up.